On the table today, Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, Mastodon, someone spilled some Cookie Krispies on the table. Okay. Pterodactyl! Saber-tooth tiger!
Squirrel Zord!
Whoa, the fuzzy squirrel Megazord option, very rare. On the table today at Squirrel Stampede, we have Power Rangers Reignition from Playmates Toys. Thank you, Playmates Toys, for gifting us the collection of the Mighty Megazord and some Automorphers figures to check out today. The Squirrels of Stampede and me, Dan, always really like Power Rangers over the years. In fact, I've got a lot of Blue Rangers up there. We've got to assemble the team of all 5 Zords today to combine and build the mighty super tall Megazord. It's so cool for Reignition. It's back. Also, Automorph figures looking really good. A time-tested head flip is always entertaining. So we have 5 Mega Squirrels to combine. Join on in. You have to see the brand new Power Rangers Reignition Megazord.
Squirrel Stampede.
Please squash
Share.
and squirrel life.
Tyrannosaurus, you've got nothing to combine without this one, the core combiner of your Megazord. And the most popular dinosaur, I would say. And huge! Playmates Toys going all in for a ginormous scale of their Megazord. Just the Rex alone seems to stand about 10 inches in height. I see bright vivid colors, I see sticker markings, and I see a dinosaur. Over on the back of the box, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers are 5 ordinary teens chosen to receive amazing abilities. They summon the spirits of their mighty Dinozords and morph into incredible Power Rangers. When evil aliens loom large, the Dinozords combine to form an even more colossal battle machine, the Megazord. Everybody reignitioned. The Tyrannosaurus Zord, always one of my faves. I loved those very few opportunities where it actually fought by itself on itself and then combined on up. You did not see it by itself very often. And there we go with the combining of into the Megazord. Let's unbox and take it for a ride. Out of the box, the Tyrannosaurus, standing very tall, still in a mighty 10 inches of height. This one's gonna stand out in the crowd. It's a very lean and athletic Zord. Look at that, this T-Rex must hit the gym often. Good stance, not falling over as of yet. It is sturdy and ready for play. Look at the chompy teeth on this one. Look at those teeth. Ah! Hey. Stop that. Certainly wouldn't want this guy lumbering around your city unless it was really taking out those monsters attacking your city, of course. Then it would be okay. So articulation-wise, usually pretty simple with these because they have to form into a giant combiner. We've got a dinosaur head that can kind of move around, open its jaws. We've got tiny little forearms that rotate at the shoulders. I wish that there was movement in the elbows and fingers, but no. It may have been just too much though. Most of the articulation is involved in the legs as it tap dances around, as you will be able to click out those hips and knees and ankles, especially getting it into Megazord mode. Oh, and a little bit of hip kick out, so that's kind of helpful. And we got a tail that unlocks and flips up. I'm marveling now at some of the clips and how are they going to attach in, like say this tail attaching into the lower torso. Nice, solid click, and hopefully looking durable for the long run. And stickers here and there everywhere. Wait a second, is that a squirrel paw obscene gesture? Shame on you. Just a really beautiful scaled Tyrannosaurus Rex Zord ready for battle. So we'll slide over here and pick up our next favorite Zord, which probably for me is Triceratops. If you know me, I like the color blue, so I always collect Blue Ranger stuff. You may have probably noticed over the years, the display behind me is blanketed with Blue Rangers from Hasbro's Lightning Collection. And Hasbro and Playmates Toys teaming up for this all-new Mighty Morphin Rangers Reignition. Don't worry, Playmates Toys, Leonardo Turtle also gets displayed on this shelf. So yeah, I like the Blue Rangers and I like the scale of this Zord. This will display nicely if I don't keep in Megazord Megazord mode, I would display this with the Blue Rangers, but actually I might keep it in Megazord mode because it's going to be so cool, I know it. Always a little more simplified with the Triceratops as it features the left leg of the Megazord, and you wouldn't want it to be unsturdy, would you? You want to be able to hold up all that weight. Still though, really nice looking, and a shout out to these awesome packages. They're so colorful. On the back of the box, same reignition information, but with the Blue Zord featured and firing missile action. And opening on up. The Triceratops has the ability to launch grappling hooks and nets from the horns when called on by the Power Rangers, and it forms the Megazord. Unfortunately, you can't do that, a little too complicated, but it is beautiful nonetheless. Very, very spiky up front, very spiky. Why am I thinking Anguirus from Godzilla? Different species of dinosaur kaiju. So very beautiful royal blue on this one, sticker markings on the crest of the Zord, red eyes, and more stickers on those lower feet treads. And of course, the ability to shoot a little tail laser projectile, which amazingly I see across my office. I can get that. So unlike the T-Rex, not much at all in the way of articulation. Of course, you can raise and lower this head a little bit. I was hoping to be at least able to open the jaws, but they are shut. But there is a little bit of tail positioning movement for your laser, so that's good news. It's just mostly a nicely sculpted foot for your Megazord, and will run you $18.99 to get your Megazord standing left leg wise. For me, longtime collector of blue, I am all in. How about you? Okay, the next Zord, which I love so dearly, the Saber-tooth tiger. I love how the Yellow Ranger says it. The Saber-tooth is also one of those, I thought we were talking dinosaurs. Saber-tooth tiger is just kind of prehistoric, but it's so cool, it matches, and it's fun to watch running mid-air. And Saber-tooth being the left leg actually has a little more to deal with than the right leg of the Triceratops, oddly. There's a lot more going on with this Zord than what the Triceratops had, and for some reason just feels huge. Maybe 9 inches? Gonna be interesting out of the box. Over on the back, if you're a Voltron collector, you may like this one quite a bit. Might sub in well as a spare for your Voltron Force, which was also a really lovely reissue from Playmates Toys. We should pull that out too at the end. Opening up. Oh, she's perfect. Perfectly beautiful. So you might have felt a little shorted with the Triceratops. Not much going on with that one, even though it's beloved in my Blue Ranger collection, but a lot more going on with yellow Saber-tooth tiger. Certainly feels like a more complete toy with movable limbs, a really cool kitty cat toothy saber, and a tail weapon that shoots another laser. Yeah, there's so much more to this one, making it worth the $18.99. Oh, there's even a torso rotation midsection. That is nice. I don't think I've seen that before on any of the tigers I've collected in the past. Sleepy time. So yeah, lots of good movements there in that shoulder positioning, head moving up and down, teeth rotation, shoulders. I thought we might get an elbow hinge, but that's locked down tight. And these back legs are interesting as they tuck up into Megazord mode. They've got roller skates on the bottoms of them. That's fun. So very much in line with what we saw with the Voltron Force Alliance, but now in Saber-tooth tiger. Really excited to get this one combined. So I think the next to show would be the big guy. Another non-dinosaur. The Mastodon, which is just so incredibly also fun to say. The Mammoth Zord controls the shield and sword of the Megazord, so lots of process with this one. The Mastodon slightly larger, like your Tyrannosaurus Rex, so these will run you $19.99, $1 extra, or so they say. Whatever on shelf will be just a little more, but probably a little more worth it in scale. Backup box, I love how this guy tiptoes around. Always a fun scene watching the Mastodon stumble around. And also really had some nice striking markings that they've represented pretty well on this one. Oh, the Mastodon looking good. I always kind of forget about this one, even though it's so prominent in the Megazord. We want to like dinosaurs so much that we forget about the Mastodon, sometimes the Saber-tooth tiger over the T-Rex and the Triceratops Pterodactyl. But what's not to love about this beautiful elephant? Mammoth event. Mastodon. And since the Mastodon does a lot of building and weapons hauling of the Megazord, it kinda is a little bit piecey togethered. The head is going to feature some trunk movement up front there. And then these tusks are embedded in pretty tight. And then these legs are all going to be kind of working in tandem with the rest of the body for building the Zord. In fact, it can do some weird things if I remember right. Uh-oh. That looks painful. So it's a fun one and a lot of chunk of plastic with this one. It's pretty heavy and pretty big. We're looking at about 9 inches in length and a shoulder height of about 5 inches. Really nice, sharp looking Zord. And of course, includes the Power Sword. Power Zord? What would you call this? Power Zord sword. Nice, heavy, thick piece of chunk of plastic that's gonna hurt in battle. And that brings us to our final Zord. Power Rangers Reignitioned Pterodactyl. Pterodactyl, typically the smallest, but will run the same as your Triceratops and your Saber-tooth tiger, but nicely they've included the Rangers, which makes this an extra bonus. I don't recall in the past other Megazord variants coming with little micro figures of your Rangers. I think that's a perfect addition since the Pterodactyl is a little bit smaller. It needs a little bit more meat to the bones for this to be the same cost as some of the others. Terry the Pterodactyl looks kind of funny in box, so we'll see how it looks outside. Features some attack launchers on those wings and missile firing actions. Pterodactyl! And somehow they made the tiniest Zord look pretty big. I think it's these feet attachment here. From this angle, mostly the chest of the Megazord. But if we pull back a little bit and give it in flight mode, there we go, our Pterodactyl. You might want to remove these feet weapons for this mode just because they look a little clumsy up there, back there. And there we go, there's a better look at our Dactyl of Terror. Really fun looking Zord, opening and closing jaws on this one, wings that kind of fold up on in, and not much of a tail back in there, but maybe if we place one of these weapons there, we can kind of sub in for a tail. Oops! So a lot flying in on this one, and then finally, lots of minifigures. Comes packed with the group of 5 teenagers with attitude. Pretty simplified little minifigures, but certainly welcome to have them. I just wish there was a spot inside the Zord to place them. Or is there? We'll find out. Excellent looking Zord and excellent looking Zord collection. The colors bounce so well against one another. This is bringing back a lot of good memories and good times. The scale of these guys together too, just filling up the area. It's fun seeing the microfigures down there along with them. I think this is going to build up to be a very interesting Megazord. So we gotta figure that out. Before we go into Megazord mode though, there is also Tanker Zord mode, which we see before the Megazord stands up. That's a pretty cool option to include, so let's give this a try. We'll start with the Tyrannosaurus Rex as the core, and we will break poor Mastodon right down the middle. So the Mastodon opens something like this. You want those back legs pointed up. You can kind of see the little belt attachment, which is going to go under the T-Rex. T-Rex forearms lifted up, and we'll snap this on like a backpack first. Swing around and then snap in these side clips. Okay, this is a combiner in itself that I don't think I've ever seen before. It's like bulked up T-Rex. You could actually use this as a combo in battle. That is really nice looking and kind of silly. So now we're gonna take the Pterodactyl and somehow snap this over onto the back of the head. Folding wings up first. And then wedge in this yellow rectangle between these back feet. We're a little bit top heavy right now, a little bit top heavy, so let's crunch down these legs, pulling in these knees a little straighter. And these shins should tuck down on in. That gives us a little more support. And we can add on in the Triceratops leg, which is pretty much the easiest one. There's square knee pegs to click on into the back end. A little bit of Voltron magic going on with the Saber-tooth tiger, tucking these back legs onto those roller skates, flip up this head and these legs for toes. I guess we should protect Saber-tooth's teeth by flipping those up and over and get those feet just kind of nice and flat. Tail rotation over onto back. And for tanker mode, actually you want these flat and lock them in. Then arm up the arms with the pterodactyl feet. And then land in the handle of the power shield onto the T-Rex's chest for some extra fun decoration. And so there we have tank mode. Tank mode is always so odd, but kind of fun to have as an option for pre-monster battle. I mean, if you need to rumble through the interstate, this is how you would go. You wouldn't just want to walk down the road and destroy all the infrastructure with that massive weight. You'd be crunching and destroying all sorts of roads and bridges. So you'd probably want to tread on over to any battle site. Probably though, a position you would rarely have this standing in is just cool as an option, an included option to do so. Oh, and we definitely can't forget about this rarely seen tank combo option, the Titano Power Squirrel option. If you install just correctly the fuzzy Titano Squirrel option up onto the back of the Pterodactyl, and you are viewing the most fearsome fighting machine of all Power Rangers lore, the fuzzy Titano Squirrel option tank mode, basically there just to destroy your screen. So if you got this far, you're actually not that far off. We will just continue on and try to stand up our Zord, kind of like you see in the sequence on the show, or in real life. It's all real. I'll start by removing some of these weapons and this back Pterodactyl. Then let's see if we could stand this guy up. That's a lot of ratcheting. And now's the time to get those tippy toes up so that we have something to stand on. So a little bit reminiscent of what we've seen in show animation. Certainly really, really tall. Let's get these arms down. And M for Megazord. Shoulder pads on up. How's that tail support system working? So this back tail should click on up into a backpack there. Really plugging it in structure-wise. And then, of course, swing around to find our hands. They should be tucked in nicely under our Mastodon legs. Looking good, looking good. Oh shoot, after seeing this sequence 100 times, I can't remember what's first, the pterodactyl or the head. I'm gonna go with the head because the instructions said. That's right, you've got to fold down this front panel, so we can't have the pterodactyl on yet. So the panel will come forward, hold down your Rex head, and before we lift panel back up, this might be an opportunity to drop in a few of your characters. I wonder if they fit in there. There's the Yellow Ranger. Black Ranger. Gotta fit the Red Ranger in. I don't know, I might just get 3 of them. Well, there's a little bit more room if we tap them and squish them down. Pink Ranger, she's small. And if I place her display base backwards, there we go. This is how you jam and never get your Rangers out. And Blue Ranger. They are now safely strapped in into their control stations. Get that chest piece back up, and now move on over these signature Megazord ears. Excellent, now we can fly on in our Pterodactyl, making sure her head is tucked in under her wings, and then just clip on into these sides. You could practically see the Micro Rangers just behind that silver windscreen. Last minute details, placing the Pterodactyl wing cannons onto these back feet. Everything has a place, which is really fun. Typically don't really see these in battle, do you? And then of course we've got to arm up with weapons. We can place the Megazord's vacuum cleaner right here, and a beautiful power sword right there. And there we have it, our fully loaded, locked together Mighty Morphin Power Rangers reignitioned Megazord. What a fun, fantastic combiner this one turned out to be. Solid, huge, tall, powerful, everything you want in a Megazord. What are the final dimensions of this character? Well, I'm getting 13.5 inches to the top of the head, but maybe 15 inches to the back of those pterodactyl leg blasters. And the shoulder width of this dude is about 10 inches. And if you're talking standing sword height, I'm getting 19 inches. Absolutely enormous. It is a total Power Rangers signature piece you gotta have on your shelf if you're looking to dance around with some amazing Power Rangers. And as for mobility, you're always going to lose a little bit because it is a combiner, but we do have shoulders that ratchet, rotate, pull out a little bit. I wish we could have reached out a little more, but that's about it. And there's not much to talk about elbows either, or rotation at that midpoint. There's a little bit of motion within those wrists as they're tied in with the back ends of the Mastodon's feet, but mostly these are straight moving arms. But there is some leg movement options. You can pull them in just a little bit, out a little bit, sit in position, knees that click in pretty tight, and again these foot pad ankles will be able to lay flat and give you a little bit of positioning there. It's hard to expect too much mobility from a combiner as they're chunkily pieced together, puzzle pieced together in a way that keeps them locked up pretty tight. But honestly, we've seen this Zord battle greatly in cardboard situations and is pretty bulky in those fights. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. It's feeling pretty sturdy. Hopefully in the long run the plastic will play nicely and will keep it together. Those clips and notches and anything articulated will hold together, hopefully for a long time. So we have calculated this Megazord all on up, and somehow Playmates Toys has kept this Zord combiner under $100. You can pick your favorite Zord and go with one, or you can collect them all and still maybe have a little bit left in the wallet for some Automorph figures. So now that we have our Megazord built, let's take a look at a few Automorphin figures. And we gotta start, of course, with the Red Ranger. No wait, Blue Ranger, of course. So much better. So Playmates Toys continuing the long-standing tradition of the automorphing figure. Just like way back in the day, and then modernized a couple times, maybe even by Hasbro. Good looking figure, and like typical Playmates Toys, packed full of great looking accessories. Over on the back of the pack, we actually have a character bio, and with the back here we actually have a try-me for the head flip and morph in action. And the good thing is, toy technology has come pretty far. Back in the day, I believe all we had was the ability to go from the actor's face to the mask and not backwards. So now though, we can go mask to face and continue that on and on and on. So of course, let's get Blue Ranger out of box for my shelf. And so here we are out of pack. He's still a little bit wide. It works for the guys better than the girls, but most of the automorphing features, mostly seamless hidden, and it's just fun, fidgety fun. I could do this quite a bit, although I don't want to overmorph and break, but I think it's gonna be pretty solid in the long run. Now the articulation with these, very simplified, made for play. Look at that, I combined his lance. But we've got articulation at the shoulders, they just rotate, elbows, wrists, nothing in the waist, but then we have hips, knees, and ankles. Perfect for ninja action. So many of these available in the first wave. Black Ranger, Yellow Ranger, Green Ranger, oh just too hard to see. Pink Ranger back there with the skirt, and then look at Rita. Make my monster grow! I hope we can see some monsters that are in scale with the Megazord. I guess for the moment, we just have this team up right here. Also a Playmate Toys kaiju. And in my case, I have certainly collected a full range of Blue Rangers for highly articulated action. This one, again, is just mainly fun for play. So fun-filled collection of Flip Rangers, Automorphin, looking good for the series of Playmates Toys. Probably check back in on these at some point and flip a few more out of package. But right now we're kind of short on time, but they are a beautiful collection. Most importantly though, it's the Megazord. We're here for the Megazord and it is awesome. What a collection of Power Zord squirrels today from Playmates Toys. Thank you so much for gifting us again this giant Megazord to go through. It's always good to return to the original Power Rangers format. That is where it's at, and you can now see this again with Power Rangers Reignitioned. If you like today's video, please give us a squike, a squirrel eye, but squament your favorite, most interesting Power Rangers character. Here's some YouTube videos recommended. Thank you so much for watching. That's what I have to say about that.